Hello there. Is the UK heading for a house price crash next year? As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. A perfect financial storm looks headed for the UK, which could all come together in an economic meltdown next year. And this could knock a huge dent into the housing market. If you own your own house with a mortgage and are just about managing, or are property rich but cash poor, a head of steam is building up that could pull away your financial foundations, leaving you in danger of losing your home. But house prices always go up, don't they? Well, not always. There was the aftermath of the credit crunch in 2007-2008 that saw prices slide for months, and they didn't recover for about 5 years. Now that was led by a banking collapse that started in the US, but the next crash could soon be led by banks in a completely different way to make them fatter and you skinter. Right now, house prices are way higher than they were before the credit crunch. But we are now heading towards our own potential economic snarl-up due to several factors. And as you can see from the graph, we've just seen a little stutter in July. But governments and banks can always be relied on to come up with yet another little scheme to keep our house prices going up just above inflation. It's all for that national feel-good factor and to keep the banks solvent. Loads of people defaulting on their mortgages isn't good for business. But it might soon be to their advantage, and I'll come on to that in a minute. Whether it be tinkering with mortgages, stamp duty, rent to buy or shared ownership, there's always a way to tempt more money into the residential property market. But if prices continually outstrip inflation and wage rises, then surely there has to come a time of reckoning. And right now, with inflationary pressures building up, that will need the Bank of England to intervene with interest rate rises. And as interest rates go up, so do mortgage payments, credit card payments and loan payments, etc. Then there's this new 1.5 social care levy to pay from next April, and councils crying out that they need to raise your council tax bills next year by a lot. Then there's the corporation tax hikes that will have to feed into increased prices, leading to more inflation. As a result, many households could find themselves stretched beyond breaking point. Then there's the furlough scheme that's just ended. Things could get very hairy for many families and very soon. And for information, these same pressures are mounting in Germany and the US, for example. Now, normally in a house sale chain, you'll have a buyer with no house to sell, normally a first-time buyer, at one end, and at the other end, death, debt or divorce, leaving an empty house. And in the past, where debt is concerned, a lender would want to evict the occupants and then sell the house on. But there's now a new dynamic at play. Banks are becoming landlords. Lloyds is looking to purchase 50,000 properties to become the largest UK private landlord, starting with 400 this year. Mortgages, banking and investments are obviously not bringing home the bacon for them. And they're shutting down more than 40 branches as well. Now, Lloyds sells 1 in 4 of all mortgages in this country, and many mortgagors will also bank with them. And what worries me is the conflict of interest here. In the past, one missed mortgage payment would send a shiver down a lender's back. But now, they could be straight in there aggressively getting the occupant to sign up to hand the property over for a price that settles the mortgage as long as they can stay as a tenant. And the lender won't actually even have to wait for that missed mortgage payment. By doing regular credit checks on their mortgage clients, they will soon find out if their client is having financial difficulties. And out goes the letter. Have you considered our sell to rent product? And if the mortgage client also banks with them, they'll have the whole picture. Like when they start paying the minimum only on a mounting credit card debt. And those with equity in their homes will be prime targets if they go through a sticky patch. And how much do you think the banks will pay people caught in this situation for their houses? And will we see mortgages with clauses allowing the lender to force this sort of thing on a client? And at the other end, we'll see banks stepping in with cash to buy property, something that could freeze out first-time buyers in a deteriorating UK economy where they're hoping for their mortgage offer to come through. Just think, the bank offering the mortgage could be making offers on the same property. And what should worry us all is that in the past banks dreaded house prices going down. But if they are now in the house buying game, what will they do to ensure they get hold of those houses at the cheapest prices to rent them out for the biggest profit? Will protections be put in place to protect us all? Will it be made illegal for the rental arm and mortgage arm of a bank to exchange information on clients? Or will government be quite happy with this new arrangement? Badly handled, the next house price fall could see a huge transfer of property ownership from homeowners to banks' rental departments, especially if renting out becomes very profitable for the banks. And governments like profitable banks. And it will also make it extremely easy for the Home Office to bulk rent properties at premium prices, won't it? And now to some interesting news about the HGV drivers the UK is seeking to source from the European Union. But before I get onto that, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Super Thanks, Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Links in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. So we need more lorry drivers. And I'm saying the answer is to do with upping their pay and conditions to attract UK drivers back into those driving seats. But no, says big business and the government, get them from the European Union. And now we hear that in order to get those EU drivers to come over here, we are going to have to offer them 20% more pay than our own drivers already operating here. The argument is that it's because the visas would only be for a short term and they wouldn't get all the benefits of permanent residence, etc. No, this is all about engineering false proof that we rely on foreign drivers so that the borders can remain open and cheap labour is permanently on tap to drive down wages and boost company profits, a policy that just suppresses key workers' wages. Instead of making the lives of key workers as miserable as possible, we need to be streamlining legislation and stripping out the red tape that forces so many businesses to employ useless spreadsheet and word processor operators. Yes, we do need administrators, but how many is the question? Now, instead of visas, why not temporarily increase the number of cabotage jobs that foreign drivers can undertake in the UK? I'm not an expert here, but as I understand it, when an EU driver delivers a load of goods into the UK, they can then do 2 further transport jobs, called cabotage jobs, within the UK before they have to return to the EU, hopefully for them and for our exporters with a full load to deliver. What if we were to double that cabotage jobs ability? Just a thought. Oh, and have you heard about the empty shelves in shops in Brussels, all put down to logistical problems? Yes, it turns out that empty shelves happen in the EU, in Brussels of all places. Must be that Brexit thing, as that's always the cause of empty shelves, isn't it? Now, those in the know about this will say it's not down to a shortage of drivers, it's down to a driver strike, as one of the haulage centres is due to close, causing industrial action. But I can say exactly the same about the situation in the UK. Apart from the government telling DVLA workers to work from home where they can't process lorry driver licences, as well as cancelling lorry driver tests, a strike at the DVLA caused many licences to end up being gummed up in the system, all causing a shortage of drivers. But as ever, in the EU it's strikes to blame, but in the UK, the homeowners always blame Brexit for everything. And problems in the EU don't stop there. We now have a German coal-fired power station being closed down due to lack of coal. Coal is now in high demand worldwide with the price rocketing. And with limited gas supplies into the EU, with its own soaring prices, Germany is now much more reliant on coal. Germany, remember, has no nuclear power stations, a reaction to the Japan Fukushima disaster. The country least affected by the Putin-caused gas shortages and coal price increases is France, because it has loads of nuclear power plants. Something we should emulate, and quickly. So what's your opinion on a potential house price crash? Please like and comment below.